The crisis at FIFA, tomorrow's presidential election will still be going ahead, and Sepp Blatter looks likely to survive. Joining me now is Martin Lipton, Deputy Head of Sports Content at The Sun. And we're going to talk through the voting process tomorrow. And a lot of people are going to find it fascinating that there are only two candidates. Of course, there's the incumbent president, Sepp Blatter, but there's also this man, Prince Ali. Why is he his only opponent in tomorrow's race?
Well, there were originally 5 other candidates. 2 of those didn't make the ballot paper. One was Jérôme Champagne, who was a former Secretary General at FIFA, a close aide of Blatter at one stage, who was part of who was basically tossed out in a cabal in 2010 at the World Cup in South Africa. And then David Ginola also didn't make the nomination list. There were 2 who did. The Dutchman Van Praag, who was the head of the Dutch FA, and also Luis Figo, the former Portuguese player. Until last week, all of the 3 candidates to oppose Blatter were on the nomination paper, on the ballot paper. But then 2 of them decided to step down, as there was a view within UEFA that the only way they could win would be to unite behind a common candidate, one candidate, and they chose Prince Ali because he isn't a European, basically, because he represents Asian football potential. There could be some flake-off from the Asian vote in his favour, and that's the thinking behind this. So
the other candidates pulled out to give Prince Ali the best chance. Let's talk through this voting process. 209 FIFA members. How does it go?
Basically, the first round, you have to get 2/3 majority. So if all 209 vote, Blatter or Prince Ali had to win on the first ballot, need 140 votes. If there's a second vote, it's just a simple majority. It certainly would be the expectation of Blatter that he would win quite comfortably in the first round. If it went to a second round, that would be a major issue for Blatter, because it would show that he didn't have the extent of support which he believes he has, even at this stage, after all that's gone on over the last few days.
Well, member nations tend to vote in blocks, don't they? And these are the kind of numbers up for grabs. Africa jumps out, 54 votes, the most votes there. They're a real power player, Martin.
Yeah, it's the 6th confederation, which are basically the continents. Blatter has always been very strong in Africa because he's the protege of João Havelange, the previous FIFA president, who basically became president because he usurped Stanley Rouse by getting the support of the smaller nations, by offering them more places in the World Cup. But previously there was only 1 African team. Suddenly there are 2, 3, 4 and now 5. The same for Asia. Even Oceania now have got a chance of a half place, a playoff place guaranteed for a place of the World Cup. It's largesse, and as a rule, many of the confederations do vote in blocks.
And 2 of the biggest blocks always tend to go for Sepp Blatter, Asia and Africa.
Very much so. There's been a slight split in Asia in the past when the Korean Dr. Chung was head of the Korean FA, and the Koreans and the Japanese were anti-Blatter. But he had the support of the Middle East very much, people like Mohammed bin Haman and others in the Middle East. Africa, albeit that Issa Hayatou, who's the head of Africa, stood against him in 2002, has been very much returned to the fold. And even in 2002, with an African candidate, Blatter got 40 of the 50 votes in Africa. In
comparison, Prince Ali, he has got the backing of Europe, 52 votes, but you think he might not even get all of those?
I would be amazed if he gets more than 35. Significant European nations, I suspect, will vote for Blatter. France have already said they will. Spain, I think, will. Iceland and Norway. And, of course, let's think about Russia, 2018. The one thing that would endanger Russia hosting the World Cup would be if Blatter were to lose his position. We've had Vladimir Putin talking about that already, about this whole FBI thing being a plot to stop Russia getting the 2018 World Cup. The Russian sports minister is on the FIFA Exco. He's going to vote for Blatter, and the Russian satellite nations may well do as well.
OK, Martin, we have to leave it there. That vote going ahead as planned tomorrow, and it looks like a foregone conclusion that Sepp Blatter will win.